Hey YouTube, recently Psyonix released the Mac and Linux builds of Rocket League in beta. Here's a quick look at how Rocket League runs on the Mac. First of all, thank you Psyonix for sticking with your port. I think a lot of people, myself included, were beginning to think that the ports were canned. I have to use the Mac OS in my day job, so it's nice not to have to reboot just to play a match or two on break. That being said, there's still a long way to go before Rocket League on the Mac is great. Apple's aversion to high-end graphics cards definitely limits the number of configurations that can even play Rocket League on macOS. Notebook users are recommended to have a 2013 MacBook Pro or newer, and iMac users should have one with a dedicated GPU at least from 2011 or newer. Even models like the current base 21-inch iMac have a rough time running the game at decent settings. With that said, my configuration is a late 2013 MacBook Pro with a 2.6 GHz quad-core CPU, NVIDIA 750M GPU, and 16 gigs of RAM. Currently running in Windows 10, I aim for a solid 60 FPS with no dips. In order to hit that, I have the resolution set at 1440 by 900. The render quality is set to performance with all advanced effects off. Adjust anything up a notch and I'll lose frames in Wasteland. And while the settings aren't great, on a 15-inch screen it doesn't look bad at all. Moving over to the macOS, controller support for the DualShock 4 is perfect. Just pair it and you're good to go. Okay, now that I've said something good about the port, it's time to get to the bad. If I mirrored my Windows settings on the Mac, it would jump between 20 and 35 frames. Going into settings also presents fewer resolution options, making it harder to scale the game res while maintaining my screen's full 16:10 aspect ratio. I've read that playing in windowed mode has helped frame rates for some people, but on my setup it didn't seem to make much of a difference. Even lowering the settings all the way down to 800 by 600 with all effects off will not maintain 60 FPS, and gameplay is very jittery. In a last-ditch effort to smooth out the experience, I kept the settings low and capped the frame rate at both 48 and 30 FPS. This led me to the discovery of an even more frustrating problem. Even when maintaining 30 FPS, the game still had jitters. I've been a console gamer long enough to know that 30 FPS can look much better than this. There seems to be inconsistent timing between frames, since stutters still occur while locked at 30 FPS. I do believe Psyonix will fix this, but as it stands, the Mac port needs some work. In the end, I decided to max out all the settings for the fun of it, and the game actually did not run much worse than it did on low settings. I did also notice the fans didn't kick on nearly as hard as they do in Windows, so I'm not sure if the Mac client is fully using the NVIDIA GPU. Either way, the port needs some work, but it's a good start. Anyway, thanks for watching. My name is Jason, and if you want, feel free to check out some of my other videos on tech if you enjoyed this. And if you see JMontyGman on Rocket League, that's me.